Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. If you're new here, well, just keep in mind that these build videos are focused around Warframe and weapon synergies, with all that other endgame loot in between. Today we're looking at Vault and a endurance survival build, of course, that is aimed at supporting both your team and yourself, keeping you alive, crowd controlling enemies in mass, and dealing a lot of damage while you're at it. We're using Breach Surge from Wisp's power kit subsumed into Vault, along with our standard utility weapons of the Nucor and the Ferox thrown in there. We'll breeze over those, as the real star is the Jack Kassar. This thing is absolutely nasty. I'm loving this weapon at the moment for all the juicy red crits we can get and the big damage. Not to mention its range is also incredible. The disclaimer, of course, is that these are my own personal builds and they work for me. Might not be your cup of tea though. This is my Surge Vault.
Vault.
Now that was a tasty drop, and an example of domination and mayhem that you can cause with this build. Before we go straight into all the mods and what to use and all that jazz, it's important that you do understand your role to your team and the mindset of this playstyle and when not to do certain actions. Starting off on how to survive, of course, you're going to need to lock down rooms with your fourth ability and the capacitance augment, which is going to allow you to regain shields for not only you and your team. This is the main support role and your main survivability tool. You want to make sure that when you cast your 4, you're also using rolling guard because the casting animation is quite long. On top of that, we're also using Breach Surge, which is one of Wisp's abilities. We're going to be using the Helminth and obviously subsuming the ability. Hopefully you guys have that option for you. If you don't though, don't worry. You can still utilize most of this build without Breach Surge. This is just the icing on the cake, of course. So, Breach Surge, why would you use it? When would you use it? And what does it do? I definitely think this is a misunderstood ability or underused. Hopefully we can clear that up for you. So Breach Surge emits a pulse which does have travel time, and when enemies are affected by it, they are blinded, which opens enemies to some stealth multipliers as well, might I add. On top of that, you have a damage buff and also a slight chance to spark projectiles, which then spread the damage further, as you can see here. So as of when to use Breach Surge, you want to be doing it to clustered groups of enemies, whether or not you're taking advantage of Magus Anomaly, an Operator Arcane, or perhaps Exodia Hunt if you want to use a Zor with a Breach Surge build. It's basically really the only way to get the spark projectiles to operate efficiently, as further distances just seem to make the sparks just fly up into the ceiling and fizzle out of control. Onward to the main damage dealer of this build in our loadout, we have the Jack Kassar. Very, very powerful weapon, great range, great status, great crit. Yeah, only one stance though, Defiled Snapdragon. You got no options there really. Condition Overload for our core damage, Prime Reach for obviously range. We have Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds for both our status and our crit to get those juicy reds. Prime Fever Strike and Shocking Touch for our corrosive combo, and Berserker for attack speed. Organ Shatter is in place of a Riven slot here. Personally, you want more crit damage anyway, but still having a little Riven for even more range is great. But Zen, isn't viral better? Well, good sir, no. On melee weapons, not really, to be honest with you. There are much easier ways and faster ways of getting your 10 stacks of viral. And viral damage just isn't actually that good. The status proc is. So to apply that status, we're going to be using the good old utility Nucor that I've already covered before, so we'll breeze past that. And a new Panzer Vulpifiler. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm just probably going to call it Panzer from here on in. Damn D and their strange names. This does allow us though to have corrosive on our melee weapon, which does give us a 75% bonus damage to ferrite armor, which is the most common armor of the game. You can try gas. I did enjoy a gas setup actually, however it just didn't do enough damage compared to the corrosive. Side note though that the gas proc will actually help trigger breach surges, spark projectiles due to its AoE. So for the Panzer build, we have Synth Deconstruct. Enemies injured by the companion have 25% chance to drop health orbs when killed. Viral's Quill does count as an injury as well, which is great. Synth Fiber for reloading when our weapons are holstered, which is great when you're using a melee and say the Nuke Core. Panzer Devulsion, this basically means your companion just never dies. It goes into a larvae state and then comes back a little bit later. And the real star of the show here, Viral Quills, which is basically a mini Sarin Spore, except it procs viral procs rather than corrosive procs. It's really, really good, and as I mentioned before, we can use this alongside the Nuke Core to get mass viral and everything. Fetch, to be able to pull all the loot in. Primed Animal Instinct, to be able to see enemies on the map. Sharpened Claws, to remove some armor on targeted enemies that the companion does. We've got Pack Leader on here. You could also use the Hunter variation for the lifesteal. We have Tech Enhance for ability duration as well, and Link Shields just to synergize a little bit with Volt, as he has a lot of shields. Now, because I don't really like repeating myself over and over again, however, these utility weapons are just so goddamn good, I'm going to breeze through them really quickly, and I will be making a fresh utility video moving forward. Now, I do have a more detailed discussion on these builds on my Shinobi Ash 2 video. Go check it out. I have a link in the description down below for you. So we have a base magnetic Kuva Nuke Core. Always has radiation, does the Nuke Core. So with the microwave perk, which inflates body parts, that is 5 status effects in total. We're running Seeker so that you can target basically more enemies because it'll punch through the first and spread throughout a bunch of enemies grouped up. It's great. I do have a better example of how punch through can work with the Nuke Core on that Ash video. Again, go and check it out. As for the Ferox, the dual stat mods aren't there for the status chance, but just for the desired elemental combo, as nothing will increase the tether's status chance. However, fire rate does help tick the status that is applied by the tethers, and holster speed I would say is very, very useful, as those few precious seconds could be the difference between life and death. I really did enjoy pairing this with Magus Anomaly to pull enemies into the Ferox tethers as well. I thought it was a really fun way to trap enemies in, breach surge them, and cause absolute destruction. Alright, so the main event, the Vault build itself. Now I've got a few little variations that you can pick and choose, whatever's your flavour, but all of them seem to work pretty well. So for Aura, you got a few options. Personally, I go with Enemy Radar, but you could go with Swift Momentum if you want to use Nurik instead for a bit more energy management, and so that you have a bit of combo duration there instead. Brief Respite and Augur Reach you could pair together to get a lot of your shields back, but not quite all of them, unfortunately. Speed Holster, if you really value that quick throw with the Ferox. Like I said, I use Enemy Radar. Handspring, because I don't have Prime Show footage yet on this account. Primed Flow and Streamline for our energy management. We have Stretch and Augur Reach for our range for our 4 and our Breach Surge. You can swap out Augur Reach if you like for something else. Rolling Guard, Natural Talent work really well together so that you can roll, then cast your 4, get your Capacitance Augment going so your shields are back and regenning constantly. Natural Talent really is essential for me to make this work properly. Primed Continuity for additional duration for the speed buff. Not that we have too much speed because we're not stacking any sort of power strength really. Now you could swap out the Streamline for Equilibrium or put Streamline instead of Augur Reach. Equilibrium does work with the companion as well, so that is something to take note. I did quite like the efficiency of Fleeting Expertise and Streamline together to really spam abilities, but some people might just prefer this instead. So yeah, there's a few options there for you. And last on the list, I know a lot of you will be asking for it, so here is the fashion guide, the colour swatches, attachments and Sindana all included. Just want to say as well, I'm really sorry this one took so long to get to you guys, but unfortunately I was quite ill, and finally I'm now making a recovery. Still not quite 100% though. However, we have got some great news for the channel. We will be affiliated with Surfshark VPN along with Shadow Tech, which is a gaming streaming service as well. On top of Secret Labs also endorsing us as well, so if you want some discount for any of those products, I'll be leaving some links in the description down below as they all go live. That's about it for this video. Gameplay to follow. Join me on Twitch and on Discord. All that good stuff. Ciao for now.
Vault. Tell